Hey, y'all, welcome back to In the Blind Podcast. My name is Eric Gunderson. This is my co-host, Stephen Barker Liles.
That is me. Thank you for having me so much, Eric.
Thank you for being here once again. We're a country duo called Love and Theft, and we host this podcast here every week at Riley Green's Duck Blind. Today we're joined by a guy that has taken Nashville by storm, insane songwriter, insane artist, and we're thrilled to have him here today. Carolina boy, Mr. John Morgan.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here,
Appreciate
man. We're excited to sit down and talk with you, and it's been fun to watch your career explode over the last, I don't know, however many years it's been.
Yeah,
but
6 now. I've been going on, this year 6, being in town.
Yeah.
It's been crazy, man. Just, I mean, you guys know when it does, it moves quickly. So it's like you got to be ready.
You got to be ready, man.
Yeah,
that's true.
I definitely wasn't, but I feel like I'm more ready than I was. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's
sometimes
fun.
being just thrown into the fire is
that's
the best,
man.
Best case scenario. You know, forces you to learn a lot real quick.
100%, man. And I've always done better in that position. I feel like just not getting a whole bunch of build up to something, you know, it's like, just do it. You just got to do it.
Yeah.
And I felt that way. I think it was 21. Aldean took us out on the road, and it wasn't last minute, but it wasn't like, hey, you got a couple months to prep. It was like, hey, I want you to come out on this tour acoustic and play for 15, 20 minutes at the opener.
That's awesome.
And so, it was awesome. But, dude, I went from, playing birthday parties to that, basically.
Yeah.
You know, grew up playing bluegrass, so, like, did that whole circuit and, was used to that territory. But, man, going to amphitheater with an acoustic guitar and a drummer on an SPDX pad, I was like, all right, we're here. This is the fire. This is it. But I will say, man, like, to your point, like, I feel I got a lot of confidence out of that tour, just because I'm like, even if we keep the 5,000 or 7,000 people that are out here and actually listening right now, you can pretty much control any crowd if you can do that with an acoustic guitar. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to do, and it's hard to keep their attention and keep them interested for 15, 20 minutes. But I feel like we did the best we could, and I really learned a lot on that tour for sure.
That's awesome. Well, something we have in common, Aldean was one of the first guys to take me and Stephen out on the road.
That's what I thought, man.
It was like 2008.
It was cool, though.
I bet.
He was nice.
Yeah, he treated us like brothers. I mean, it was probably, we've been on some cool tours, but I still always go back to that one. It was us, him, and Eric Church. And
Come on, dude.
Cool.
Does he still do that Georgia Bulldog vibe room after
Oh,
the show?
yeah.
That was so fun.
Got it all decked out. Yeah. They were super cool to me. And I'm not naive. Like, I understand, like, we're all in the same camp and everything, but there's a reason for that too. I feel like he and I just, we're not best friends by any means, but we hit it off, and I think we align in a lot of ways that we approach things. And I just, dude, super thankful for his knowledge on the business side of things, because you come to Nashville. Oh man, especially early on, where I was like, dude, I don't know, like, legal terms. I'm like, so
for sure.
Just being able to run something by somebody that's been through that. Yeah. I mean, dude, it helped me tremendously. So
that's awesome.
But he was super cool to us on tour too, and took care of us more than we deserved, for sure. So.
Yeah, and then we've been on some where they don't treat you like that.
Yeah, there's a few of those.
I mean, they say don't meet your heroes.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I guess it was early enough in his career to where he wasn't necessarily like at the top of his game like he is now, but like to be able to have like a front row seat to like watching how someone navigates, going from civic centers, smaller arenas, to like blowing up and selling out those arenas. And
dude,
it was just the best education, I think, at that stage of our career, to see somebody that was doing it really on their terms too. I mean, so many people you see that kind of get pushed and pulled in different directions, but he always just seemed like the guy that was getting pushed and pulled, but still stuck to his guns.
Just stay right down the middle.
He believed in, and he gave us some great advice, and still one of my favorite people in the business.
That's awesome, man. I love hearing that. And that was the thing. It was hard for me at first to, like, number one, just come to terms with the fact that we're friends now, and that transition was, weird for me just because I was a fan of his before he moved to town, I mean, he was all over radio when I was, he hates when I say that too. Yeah. He's like, made me feel old when you say that, but it's true, man. I mean, like when I was out of high school and, that's when I really started taking writing seriously. It was like after I did the touring thing and got out, I was kind of in between where I didn't know if I wanted to chase music or not. And I kind of didn't touch my guitar for a couple years. I was just working. My dad had a property management business that I was like, I'm going to take this over. I was making great money, had very few bills, I was in that sweet spot of like, this is kind of nice, Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, I just remember thinking like, if I don't do it, I'm never going to do it. If I'm going to go, I got to go right now. And I just remember that transition of, becoming friends and then, taking it to the next level where it's like, he's my label head now, you know, so I got to ask him business questions. And so I think once we got kind of through that, I mean, I had to think about this too. It was different for him. He's never been a label head,
That's
so,
true.
And he's also got to deal with all his artist stuff before he gets to mine, and so I think it's been good for me in the sense of like, he's definitely given me a platform, but he hasn't done the work for me, know? And then he told me that early on. He's like, dude, I'll get you in front of people, but you're going to take it as far as you want it to go.
That's awesome.
And so that meant a lot to me that he not only was willing to stick his neck out for me, but trust me to follow through and show up and do all the things that you got to do to, make it work. So it's been cool, man.
Yeah. And there's so many things that you got to do to make it work.
Oh, gosh, dude.
But it's really cool that you have him in your corner like you do, and
yeah, it is.
And just knowing him like we do, obviously. I mean, I haven't seen him in a couple of years. I think last time we saw him was at a thing over in East Ivy Mansion for like Operation Light Shine or something. We sat at the same table, but just to know what he's been through, how he's navigated the business, just any chance I've ever gotten, I just feel like I try to be a sponge around him and just soak up whatever it is that he's saying or putting out there, just because he knows, and he has had one of the most incredible careers, at least from the outside looking in, in the business, and just such a monster superstar. I mean,
I know, man.
And he changed the game for so many people too. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, no, FGL and so they brought in the bro country thing. Like with Dirt Road Anthem, like what he did with that and how he just changed, in my opinion, country radio.
Yeah.
And opened so many doors for so many other artists to come in and do different things in the country space. I mean, it's like back then, I think the rules were a little stricter. There were more gatekeepers, and I feel like he kind of broke down a lot of those doors and was just like, all right, I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
It
and he
That's
didn't
badass,
care.
Man. Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, it's like you said earlier, like he's able to dabble in stuff like Dirt Road Anthem and then cut something like Flyover States, you know, where it's like it's still it doesn't matter. That was something that we talked about early on too. And he's like, you got a band? I'm like, yeah, I got a drummer and a bass player. He's like, cool, tell them to warm up, you know. He's like, they got first dibs, you know. So that was awesome. Cool, you know, that he gave them a chance. But like, yeah, man, I just remember being like, you know, watching him do his thing and being out with him every night and just seeing that operation work at its fullest, you know, at its peak, and just seeing such a well operated machine on the road was huge, and definitely lit a fire under me to be like, we need to capture and take the good things out of this camp that we're being sponges on and incorporate them on a smaller scale to what we're doing. And that's all I've tried to do. I've tried to do that with pretty much everybody we've been out with, because you can learn something from every camp. You know, I mean, you guys know it's like good or bad, you can take something away from it. And, you know, my philosophy has always been, I want people to take away from what we do is these guys were good to work with. We enjoy working with these guys because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, when you're first kind of making a name for yourself, I guess, or trying to cut through all the noise, it's like the low-hanging fruit is being cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's the easy thing. Just be cool. When you got stagehands there to help you, dude, stagehands to us, even still, when we have stagehands, I'm like, let's go. You know what I mean?
It's a serious win,
bro. Yeah, I don't have to carry my gig bag around, you know? It's like, it's cool. And I think when you appreciate stuff like that, and just have that mindset of like, let's just be cool. You're only going to make somebody's day worse if you're not that way. And everybody's having a rough day. nothing about preparing for a show, or especially on a larger scale, nothing is easy. Like, and there's always problems. There's always gear problems. So it's like, man, just be cool. That's always, and his crew was that to us. They didn't have to be at all. You know, they could have been dicks to us. They could have, not let us use their gear or anything. But that was really one of the biggest takeaways I took from that camp.
Yeah, I mean, I would completely agree. There's really, like, it seems like two schools of thought. It's like the guys like that just want to make it an amazing experience for the artists that are opening, and then there's the other ones that are like the jaded assholes that are like, all right, these guys got to pay their dues and they got to know what it was like for us. And like, why do that to somebody? It's like you're totally just tainting their, like, the artist, the headliner, like the boss may have a completely different mentality, but production manager, like we've had a couple, we're like, okay, there were hands available, and they're like, no, we're gonna make sure that these guys have to carry every.
And
piece
you're
of
not
gear
allowed to be on in-ears.
Yeah. Oh,
why?
RF issues. Like,
there's not enough.
We'll turn
RF
yours off while we're on stage. Like, help us out.
Turn
and
it
like,
back on after, dude.
And all these people always were like, you can use our stuff. Like, don't even worry about bringing your stuff in. We'll just patch you into our,
and it makes
setup.
Everybody's life easier.
Yeah.
Yes. I've never gotten that. I won't name names, but we had that happen to us one time at a casino gig, and we're like sound checking, and we got a pretty minimalistic setup. Like, we're direct everything. We're just pretty self-contained. We flew out, show up, we do our thing, we're in sound check. And I just remember, like, the last little bit, we were having some RF issues, and I'm like, what's going on, And so I just kind of let it go by the wayside. Well, during our show, we get, casinos are pretty time schedule oriented.
Oh, yeah,
they got
for sure,
curfews and stuff. And so we're, like, hustling through our set. We had, like, a 30 or 45, and we're hustling. We get to the end, and we're playing Friends Like That as our closer. And so we're, like, almost done. We're playing an outro on it, and RF just right at the beginning of our outro to finish the set.
Oh gosh.
And apparently
flipped it on.
Apparently we went over a couple of minutes. Supposedly 5. I checked, it was 2.5.
Right.
I made sure. But they thought it was 5, and they decided to go ahead and cut their RF on. So I'm just like, stuff like that, man, I don't ever want that coming back on me. It's like you said, like, your camp represents you as much as you represent them. And it's that way all the way around with management, with labels. I mean, you represent each other, and I think it's important to have the right people on your team. It's taken me a minute to figure that out, but
and
that's
for
the way
us,
it is.
since we're not like a solo name, we're a band name,
right?
So everybody's Love and Theft.
Yeah,
the drummers, for all these people they don't always know we're a duo. They know those guys sing. Man. So the drummers Love and Theft. Everybody is Love and Theft. We're like a band, but
that's true.
And so
man.
like we've had some guys that are like, well, we gotta let that dude go. We can't be smoking meth in the backstage, bro. They think that was us.
Definitely the drummer. Definitely the drummer.
Meth has a distinct smell. You can't really hide that.
No.
That's a true story of that.
Oh, dude, that's crazy.
So yeah, Love and Theft was smoking meth backstage in California in a trailer. We flew him home. We didn't need a keyboard player for the next show. We were fine.
That's crazy, man.
So you grew up in North Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's where you're from?
Yeah, in the Smokies. I had a great upbringing, man. Just it's one of those places that you take for granted when you're there.
Yeah.
Now when I go home, I'm like, dang, dude, like, such a beautiful spot, and I appreciate it a lot more now. But I had such a great upbringing. I grew up, well versed in the bluegrass world. That was just, it was more of a pastime in my family. Like, nobody really did it as a livelihood, or nobody really gigged around. It was just like, just come over and sit on the porch and pick, and that was cool. Literally was that. And so that's when I just kind of fell in love with guitar at that point. Guitar was like my first love, where I'm like, dude, this is what I want to do, and Tony Rice was my hero. I was just trying to do everything he did, and I think I just got, like I said earlier, just kind of got burnt on that circuit, and we were playing traditional bluegrass, so you're playing the same songs everybody else is playing at the festival a different way, and trying to put a new twist on it. And I don't know, it just kind of got old to me. I did it for like 8 years, and so I was just like done with that. But
what age were you when you really started doing that?
I think when we started like touring the country, I was like 12. 12 or 13.
Dang, that's wild.
Yeah, man. It's funny looking back on it because it was just life back then.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like my kid's 12 and his kid's 13. So
It's
the thing about them
weird,
doing
man.
tour in the country right now,
I
I'm like,
know.
oh,
dude, I know. I don't know how. I talked to my mom the other day, and I was like, I can't believe you let me do that. You
That's
know?
what I was
Like,
thinking.
it's wild, but it was with her brother. My uncle was our band leader, and my two cousins. So it's
cool.
still in the
That's
fam. But yeah, man, we hit it hard. I mean, we would play easily 150, 200 dates a year. You know, at that age, still going to school and trying to play ball and do all the stuff. And I think the combination of it all is what kind of burnt me out. But again, that's when I really fell in love with songwriting and got that bug where I'm like, oh, this is a job. Like, I didn't really know much about the writing side of it. And yeah, just really caught the bug for that, and trying to land a hook was just like super interesting to me. I'm like, I feel like I could do that to an extent. And started writing some stuff back home with my drummer at the time. And I don't know, man. I think the telltale for me was when I moved here and I was like hearing the stuff that other people at my level or at my timeline of being here, my class or whatever, I was hearing what they were writing, and I'm like, man, it's not too far off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like our idea was right. We just didn't hit it on the head, you know? So that encouraged me a lot that, like, man, if I can get in the room with the old head and the vet that knows how to get it there, that would, I think, trigger the light bulb might, you know, come on for me. And that really was the case. Started writing with a guy named Mike Delaney, and we wrote a bunch and early on, and he was just such a good mentor to me in that regard of just like show me the ropes and not putting too much pressure on me to have to write and have to have the hook. And it was like, man, just come up with a cool melody. I'll work on this, you work on that. And
do you get really so much better at songwriting when you first moved to town really quick if you're willing to do it? I mean, I went from thinking like I was all right, and then like 2 months later I was double as good as I was.
I know,
right?
I know.
But especially since you had like kind of a mentor, that's awesome.
Yeah, it definitely helped speed the process up because, like I said, I mean, I felt like the ideas we had were cool, and you know, I just didn't know how to hook a title. You know, I didn't know how to do that. It didn't click with me until I started writing with guys like Mike and Brett Beavers and some of the other guys in town.
Brett, dude, I love him so much.
Funniest story in the world.
Yes.
Like the first time we wrote, I'd never met him. Show up, I'm writing with Kurt and Tully and those guys. I'm sure you know them well. And we show up, Brett's in there. I'm a massive fan of Brett as a producer because I think he produced the Every Mile of Memory, one of the early Dirks records. It was just
and he did I think he did Kane and Smith, right? For a little while.
I don't know. I think his ear for guitar tones was just, that's what drew me in, man. And so I was such a fan, so I was super nervous, but we got in there and wrote and got on this idea, and we're like, man, this feels kind of cool, you know, whatever. Ended up being Trouble with a Heartbreak, and we had a #1 together. Never wrote before that, haven't written since. Because I texted him like a couple months later. I'm like, dude, congrats, like this is awesome, you know. I was like, I'd love to try to get something else in the books. And he's like, dude, anytime you want to come down to Florida, I'm down to write. You know? I'm like, touche, man. No. I was like,
fishing some golf.
Yeah, dude. I was like, just say when, you know. But I guess he forgot my number. But
I never realized how funny he is.
Oh, it's so funny. Jim's hilarious too, man.
Yeah.
Like just both of them are just hilarious guys, but just great writers too, man. Like watching Brett do his thing, it was similar to Mike where they weren't saying much, you know, and it wasn't, they didn't make me feel dumb about saying a line, you know, like I knew what I was saying wasn't the final product, but like I was just hoping it would spark something for him. Yeah. And so I remember sitting there and like I would throw a couple lines out, especially early on in the write. I was just like, dude, he hates this, you know, or like I felt like I was overcompensating, so I just shut my mouth. I was just like hanging out, but he's just over there on his phone, you know, like not saying anything. And then like 5 minutes later, he would take something I said and made it cool. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know, that's when it started clicking. Yeah. So, yeah, man, I love that process, and I still love getting to, you know, have that outlet to write for other artists and chase something that's out of my lane. Because in that whole process of like just really being strictly a writer for like the first 3 years I was here, I never really honed in on what my sound was, but I figured out what it wasn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I figured out if I were to cut this song, I would have probably done it this way.
Right.
And so it helped me by the time I was ready to put out our debut album. Like I kind of knew what I wanted it to be, and I'm super thankful for that time now.
That's
looking
really
back.
cool.
So
was your those 3 years where you were focusing, maybe not even focusing more on the writing, but more of a writer?
yeah.
Was that always part of your plan to kind of hone that side of your craft first before you really dove into being on the road, or was it just however it happens kind of thing, or were you really purposeful with the process?
I would say, knowing myself, I probably didn't have a game plan. But I just saw when I moved here, I made a friend right out of the gate, Will Bundy. I don't know if you guys have written him, but he was just like starting to like really build a catalog for himself. He was just starting to get cuts with major artists. He was just getting into better rooms, and he was just a producer writer. Right. He wasn't trying to do the artist thing at the time. He was just strictly doing that. And I think I just saw his process, and I'm like, I can do that to a scale. I can be in that ball game. And so he was super cool early on and just let me shadow everything he was doing on Logic. And I just dove head first into production. I was like, I know it enough, to be dangerous. So I copied pretty much everything he was doing and just took his rough template, made my own, and started doing demos myself. Right. I can play a few different instruments good enough for a demo. And so I just started really getting into that and enjoying that process of like writing an idea and then creating the sound with it too, and building the track around it. Yeah. And so that, honestly, once I caught that bug too, I'm like, I'm gonna hammer down on this. It was getting me in better rooms, just saying, hey, I do tracks. The first time somebody asked me, I didn't even have a rig, dude. I didn't have a computer. I didn't have a MIDI controller. I didn't have anything. I just had Logic on my laptop and like a 57, Right. I was just doing whatever. And so they
smart that you're like, yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I do. Yeah, duh.
Well, I knew it was a publisher in town that like had some decent writers. So I'm like, I can do a work tape if anything, So that's kind of what got my foot in the door. I started writing at River House for a little bit. That's who it was that kind of found me and saw me play at Live Oak when it was up here on the Bummer Inn.
Yeah.
I just played a random show, and this guy approached me after, and he was like, "What are you doing? Like, who are you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a track guy."
Right.
Yeah, I do tracks. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
but it really worked out, and it gave me a good sense of what do I want out of this? Do I want to stay home and write songs and do the production thing? Because I loved that, and I still do. But I think the biggest thing that made me shift that mindset was literally Aldean just being like, hey man, like I want to sign you to a pub deal, but I also want to sign you to a record deal. Wow. And that, to me, coming from him, I was just like, I guess I can do this, and it really gave me a lot of confidence to just, go after it. And so that's kind of what I've been doing, man. If I write something, I'm usually like, even now I still am kind of pitch first. I'm like, let's see if it lands somewhere, because if it does, it wasn't meant for me, and so.
And you can always write more songs.
Yeah, and I can always cut it if I love it,
exactly.
So
you're guaranteed cut for yourself.
Yeah. I think they call that job security.
Someone's got it on hold right now. Me.
Yeah.
But if you want to cut it,
oh, I'm using that.
Yeah, that's a good
one. Yeah, it's been on hold for a while. That's great.
Did you find that being able to, like, since you're on the road from like 12 to however long, like, I find that a lot of younger artists like get to town and like they're so anxious to get out on the road, whether they have the songs or not, whether they've kind of honed their craft or not, and they just get out there thrown into the fire, and a lot of people crash and burn.
So many.
Do you feel like the fact that you got kind of to experience that kind of, I don't know, quelled your desire just to be out there immediately and let you
That's
like
a good word.
I'm still in that one too. I got a notepad out today, bro.
I read the dictionary this morning just to come up with a good word. But do you think that like allowed you to really focus? Because from the outside looking in, like it's your path and the trajectory. It seems ideal to me. It's like Like it seems like you've built it in the way you wanted to build it. Obviously, stars have to align and good things have to happen, but I believe good things happen to good people that aren't necessarily desperate,
100%.
For their opportunity. Do you think that was a good thing? I mean, from my perspective, it would. If I could have had that opportunity, I feel like it would have helped me make a lot less shitty decisions.
And I've actually had a handful of people talk to me about that, and yes, to answer your question, 1,000% gave me the perspective I needed when I moved here. Because I moved here when I was like 23. I think I was 23 or 24. So I wasn't super young. Like I was, I was in that phase where I'm like, yeah, I've been an adult for a minute. And so at least I thought I was. And but I think it gave me the perspective of when I moved here. Before I moved here, actually, I knew that songwriting is that's what I'm going for. Mm-hmm. If anything, I want to get a pub deal and pay my bills and just grind at that. I knew that's what I wanted to do, and that's what made me sell everything and move, right? I think getting here and, like you said, seeing the ins and outs of the artist side of it and all that, man, it was like definitely a game changer in the sense of, not feeling pressure to put music out because I don't know. I never got told, like, don't put music out before you're ready. But there was something inside of me that was just like, it's probably I'm kind of a perfectionist on certain things.
Me too.
Yeah. I feel like you have to be, to an extent.
To a fault, I think.
Yeah, for sure. But I think to a good point, like, I knew that I didn't have the songs. I knew I wasn't writing songs that were good enough to put out in the world that were going to live forever under my name. Is what we were talking about earlier. Yeah. Like, that I've tried to really be conscious of that, even from the get-go, just like, I know why I moved here. I'm coming here with, some good ideas to bring into a room. And I think the biggest thing for me was being ready for those opportunities when it happened, because you never know, man. Like, the first time I wrote with Mike was like 2 days before. It was like, hey, can you jump in on this on Wednesday? And I'm like, sure, I'm there. And if you don't have at least 2 or 3 good ideas to throw out in the room when that time comes, I mean, people aren't going to take you seriously. Yeah. And so that was probably the first lesson I learned was don't throw your good ideas out in the wrong room, because I did that a lot. And
a good lesson.
Yeah, I learned it the hard way, but I learned it, and it's definitely been something that stuck with me. But on the music side of things, yeah, I never felt pressure to put out music because I'm like, I want them to be hits. I want to write hits. I don't want to write stuff just to put it out there and say I'm an artist now. Yeah. Because that's not what makes an artist to me.
Yeah, you know what? I just want to write some album cuts today, just like some like deep albums.
Yeah, I like the deep cuts. I've had a few of those, man. Yeah. Nah, I mean, it's true. Yeah, you're not going in with that mindset. Yeah. You're going in to write something that is going to connect with people and that's hopefully true to you and your artistry. And it doesn't. I've never wanted to feel like I'm reaching for anything. Yeah. Like that's been another thing that I'm like, I don't need to reach. I know what I like. I know what I enjoy playing in our live show. Yeah. I know what I like cutting in the studio and that process now. And, it's still evolving, but I know the core of what those are. And so I think that's definitely helped a lot. And I think the other tidbit on top of all that is, having a label head like Aldean that is willing to trust me and give me that creative freedom when I say, hey, man, like, I feel pretty strongly about the production side of my records and I want to be hands-on from the get-go. Having him just be like, okay, well, I'll give you a test run. He gave us 3 songs on this first record. I co-produced it with Brent Anderson. I don't know if y'all know Brent, but he was, a good friend of mine when I first moved here, and we wrote a lot together, but never really did any production stuff together. It was just, I was going through the process of finding producers, right? And the label was setting up all these meetings with Jay Joyce and all the heavy hitters, right? And dude, I started seeing some of those price tag come in, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm like, I feel like I could get it in the ballpark for a lot cheaper than that, And so I was hanging out with Brent, and I was just venting to him after a write one day. And he was just like, man, he's like, I don't want to tell you what to do. He's like, I had a record deal when I moved to town. He's like, I had a I had a label
Weren't we on
behind
the same
me.
label with him at one point?
Yeah.
Were you really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Over at Sony, I think.
Sony? Yeah. But he was like, man, I had a deal, and I know what that world is. I know the pressure that comes with it. He's like, if I'm being honest with you, he's like, the one thing I regret from my time as being an artist, he's like, I didn't play a single thing on my record. He's like, I didn't have a say in what the production end goal was. He's like, if it were me, he's like, I would fight tooth and nail for that. He's like, you hang on to that, because once you let it go, it don't come back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Once it's out there and they have control, any little bit of control, they're going to take it and run with it. Yeah. And so, him saying that really struck a nerve with me. And it was just like, I was like, well, why don't we just do something together? And so we built out these 3 demos, and turned them into the label. And, the rest is kind of history. And so, all that to say, man, having a label that gives you creative freedom is hard to come by.
Yes.
So much, and it's damn near impossible these days. And I talk to a lot of other artists that are in the process of doing a sophomore record or wherever stage they're at early on. It's like, man, they're having fights with their label too. So I feel like it's not just me. Like, I don't, I have a good relationship with BMG and BBR and, Night Train and all that. We're all in good cahoots now, but
that's awesome.
Again, you got to fight for it. So, I'm
thankful. Did you feel like you had to kind of prove yourself?
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think they knew that, I was production savvy enough, because I was doing demos and all that stuff, and they were hearing all that and knew that I had
pre-Suno.
Yeah, pre-Suno for sure. I was in my bedroom banging my head against the wall for 6 hours trying to EQ a vocal.
Same here.
Yeah, it was such a waste of my life, but no, it definitely all of those things still play a factor in how I approach the studio now too. It's like, I know what not to do now, because I had to sit in my room and watch YouTube videos and figure out how to do these things. So,
I think that was what makes a great producer, is somebody that figured it out for themselves.
Yeah.
Because you have different tendencies musically. You do things that work for you, and I think that's how you really develop a sound.
Yeah.
And whether you're producing yourself or somebody else, it's like the producers that I seek out or would have sought out before we were doing our own stuff are the people that had a signature kind of thing about what they did. I mean, there's so many different producers in town that are chameleons and can do whatever and can make anything sound good, but it's not it loses its, I don't know, the uniqueness of it, I guess, gets kind of lost. And
for sure.
That's just one thing I love, is the people that literally sat in a room and figured it out for themselves. It's like the way they get certain tones, the way they track a vocal, like may not be the conventional way that all these guys that went to school for it were taught, but it has its thing, and it sounds just as good or better. And then,
I know, man.
And then you get in a room with those guys, and they're like, "Hey, what'd you do there? Like, that's really cool. I never would have thought about that." And then all of a sudden, your confidence goes through the roof. It's like, yeah, I am doing something right here. I figured this out on my own, but it stands up with what the best and the Grammy Award winners are doing, and hopefully one day I can be that too.
Get in that category for sure.
And it's cool, and it's a invaluable skill to have also, to be able to go, say you are working on a project with somebody else and there's another producer, to be able to communicate with the players or to be able to play something for them and have them respect you in a way that it's not just this kid that's in the room throwing out these crazy ideas, acting all arrogant.
100%, man.
That can
100%.
suck the creativity and the vibe out of a room like that.
Oh, dude, yeah. If I've tried to I try to put myself in their position too. Not that I'm not a studio musician at all. I mean, like I know what I can do for my record. My mindset with Brent when we were talking about the first record, I was just like, look, man, like, after he said that to me and was like, man, I wish I would have played, I was like, I felt the same way. I mean, some of my heroes, Keith Urban's a big guitar hero of mine, where I just, I know his process is so lengthy when they go in the studio. I mean, it has to be, you know, and I've watched a lot of documentaries and stuff I'm a nerd on all that stuff, where it's like, they have a week of guitars, and we have 4 hours, but it's like you can kind of condense it down on a smaller scale and kind of have the same process. But I think, part of what you were saying earlier too, to me, it's like ignorance is bliss sometimes, where it's like, I don't know the proper way on Pro Tools to do this. but I did it this way and it sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So just leave it. Just don't, if that's been the hardest thing, I think, in being a track guy, producer early on, and then now doing it for a record. It's so hard sometimes to recreate something in a room that was already special in the demo. You know what I mean? And like the other thought too is like, if everybody on the label and everybody on your team is stoked about a song from the demo, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Why are you
don't go in there and try to change it too much? Yeah.
100%. If you take it into the left field, man, like it's gonna lose some of that value of it, I think. Absolutely. And so it's been a good thing to be on the front side of the demo, because I can kind of at least push it in that direction and get the vibe, you know. So again, like Brent's been such a huge he's played such a huge role, especially on that debut record, because the majority of it was he and I in his basement. Yeah. And we were just tossing things back and forth, and he's such a great player. He is a studio musician. Yeah. So having that guy sitting in front of me while I'm playing a solo or while I'm doing anything, it puts the pressure on. It makes me level up instead of level down, you know?
For sure.
And there were a few times where it's like, bro, I'm about to break this guitar. Like, I cannot get this lick. Like, I hear it in my head. I can't. And I got to a point where I'm like, you play it.
Yeah.
And that helps a lot too. When you have somebody that you know is your fail safe that can rip it if you can't get it there. It's like, it was so much fun. The creative process was a lot of fun on that first album because it was just us. There wasn't too many cooks in the kitchen, you know?
That's nice. And I think that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, just you saying it was fun.
Yeah.
Like, we've made so many records where the initial part of the creative process was fun. The writing the songs, like we always did our own demos.
Yeah.
And we bring them in the studio, and it's like, all right, it's really, really fun until they start trying to change everything that you thought was great about the track.
Right.
And kind of sucks the excitement out of it. You're like, you see your vision just getting destroyed almost. You're like, no, that's what makes us us.
Right.
And you're trying to make us like everybody else that you're making records for.
Yep.
And that was really one of the things for me. It was like, all right, every demo we've ever turned in, people always said they loved it better than the record. So now our process is, I think about the record from the moment I start a demo. It's
100%.
Like, how much of this can I keep? And like knowing what you're good at and knowing what, you know, whether it's Shannon Forrest, Near Z, whoever, Miles McPherson on drums, it's like picking a guy that's going to come in and hear the song for what it is and try to make it better, not change it into, oh, this is my thing and this is what I do.
Right.
And that, I mean, I think we haven't had as much success with that side of it yet just because there's not a label involved, but I feel like I'm more passionate about the music that we're putting out now than I've ever been because it's uniquely us.
That's
and
cool,
it's
man.
what we set out to do from the beginning. And not to say we haven't learned an absolute shit ton from the guys we've been in rooms with. I mean, we made a couple records with Josh Leo, who produced Alabama. He was Glenn Fry's guitar player, played with Jimmy Buffett for 25 years. Like, my favorite part about making those records were the stories and like listening to him talk about, you know, Don Henley and Glenn Fry in the studio.
That's
like,
crazy, yeah.
Like those things are pretty incredible. And then again, it's like we learned a lot of what not to do and what we didn't want to do with, you know, stuff we made, you know, further down the road. But it's an amazing process, and it's pretty cool once you do have that creative control over your music. And I feel like we've had to fight for a lot of our career to get that back. Yeah. And then once you finally have it, it's like you don't want to give it up in any way. So you almost can shoot yourself in the foot to a certain extent by not wanting to collaborate and do stuff because you're afraid that it's going to get changed into something
get taken
different.
Back out, yeah.
So I'm trying to find balance there, and
it's hard, man. It is. It's like it's a continuous battle. It's not something you just do and say and then it goes away. It's like there's always somebody trying to get a piece of the puzzle or a piece of the pie and have a say in what you're doing and want to feel like they're a part of it from the ground up. And it's like, I've tried to be very cautious on that too, as far as who are we letting in, you know, on this process, because, you know, even like coming back to my band guys, like we've all been buddies for forever. You know, I grew up with my drummer and bass player, and you know, it's like all the other guys in the band have been my friends since I first moved here, and it just matters, man. It matters who you're out on the road with. We were talking about it earlier, but it matters on the business side too. You know, and like having people again that you can trust at least to do their job. Like that's the bare minimum. I feel like is if I'm putting in the work, I just ask you to match that. You know what I mean? And so I feel like it's a very hard thing to find, and it's hard to hang on to because it is a continuous battle.
Yeah, and I mean, I was listening to something the other night, and this guy was talking about who you surround yourself with. And he's talking about, businesses that he had that were successful and businesses that had failed. And the common denominator in the successful ones was like, I have people around me that will fight for me in rooms that I'm not in.
Right.
And he's like, anything that's crashed and burned, there was always at least one person in that camp or in that team that was kind of a cancer. And talk shit about people behind their back, try to stir things up just to validate themselves. And even that, having guys around you that you trust, that believe in you, that are going to go to bat for you when you're not there is huge.
100%, man.
I think if you have people in your camp that are cancers like that, it makes people question, all right, well, why does the boss have this guy on their team?
Right.
Like, he obviously wouldn't if he knew what he was saying, but then it makes them question, working with you, because they're like, all right, if he can't tell that this guy is this way, we can't, in good faith, put a bunch of money into this project because, the guy
you don't trust him.
Steering the ship is not really steering the ship.
100%. It just tells me you're not touching base too.
Absolutely.
You got to touch base on all ends. That's probably the hardest thing, I think, for me, because I'm like I like having seasons, like I like hitting it really hard for a while and then just chilling. Like I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like I'm sure you guys are the same way in a sense where it's like I'm totally down. When we got stuff booked out, we got shows back to back. I'm all in. Like I'm here. You got my 100% attention. But when we're not there, don't call me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to be that guy. But like, I got kids. I got a family. Like I want to be doing that. I want to be hanging out at home and doing stuff at home. And so I think that's very important too. But it doesn't matter. Like we still have scuffles in the band where it's like, but I think the end goal is we know that we're all friends and there's going to be a solution at the end of the day. Like we'll figure it out. We might throw hands or we might get pissed off after a show at each other or something, which I've definitely been that guy, but we always work it out, and that's the thing. When I was kind of piecing the band together, we got like a 6-piece now, and so it's like I like real players too, so I'm like trying to incorporate the right guys. And the top thing on my list is like, do I trust you? Are you trustworthy? Are you gonna come out here on the road and be a problem, or are you gonna help keep me accountable too? Like I got to do my job. If I'm gonna be the front man controlling the crowd, you got to do your job, so I'm not thinking in the moment about what you're doing. Why are you doing this while I'm trying to, you know what I mean? And all those things matter when you're trying to, pursue this career, because
for sure,
if you're not, somebody else behind you is, and it's like it doesn't take long for them to get noticed nowadays. So I'm super thankful for the camp and just what we've built so far. I'm super proud of it, and just looking forward to this year, man. We're going out with BG in the fall, so
nice.
I haven't really spent a lot of time with him, but he seems like a pretty cool cat. I'm excited to get to hang with him a little bit.
We got to do a whole tour with him with Tim McGraw one summer and stuff.
He's awesome, dude.
Man, dude, y'all been on some killer tours, bro.
That's so
awesome.
I'm trying to get on another one of his years. But I mean, he's one of my favorite people in the business. Like,
that's cool.
I was renovating Steve Ford's office back here on the backside of this building one night, and I think it was the night of the BMI Awards, and I had to get something done because we were leaving to go on the road the next day. He just came in his office and helped me rip down sheets of plywood. Like,
really?
Still in his outfit from the award show and everything. Just hung out in there for a while, smoked a cigar.
That's awesome, dude.
He's one of the best dudes in the business. I mean,
I can see that. Yeah.
And he's just one of those guys that's done it on his own terms and
definitely
doesn't tolerate shit from anybody. And I mean, I feel like just learned a lot from him, just how he approaches life and the business. He's one of the good guys, and
I can tell that, man.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites, and just a gem of a human being too. I mean,
awesome,
hard ass, but like if he loves you, he loves you. And like I think one of the coolest relationships that I've ever seen is him and Colt Ford, and just the way that I think Colt's old enough to be maybe an older brother, but I mean those two, it seems like they would die for one another.
That's cool.
It seems like the people in Brantley's life that he loves them hard. And he treats his band, his crew amazingly, and just a great guy. I think to just kind of try to mold anybody's career after. I mean, he's one of the best.
I'm excited to get in with that camp and again learn from from how their process is. And you know, our mindset too is always like I'm not naive enough to think like we're gonna go out there, this is our show. It's like it's not our show. When our time slot starts, it's our show.
Yep.
But before it starts and right after it ends, we're there to get them fired up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's our job. We're out there to get them. They're not going to know half our set list, but when we get out there, we're going to try to keep their attention. You know.
A lot of times we just kind of like, all right, let's pretend like we're not here. Don't make them realize we're here until we play. Like, let's be out of the way as much as possible till they want to hang out with us.
It's 100.
Let's let it be their idea.
Dude, I mean, it's so true.
And we didn't always do that, but we tried.
Well, you get a little tequila involved, you know. Yeah. No, it's that's such a good point too, man, because it's not your show. Yeah. If you're not headlining, it ain't your show. It ain't your call. You're there doing a job, and you're a role player, and I fully take that on, and I love that because that means we got something to prove. You know, we're out there, you know, trying to win his fans over to be our fans when we leave. You know, and it's such a fun thing to try to do, and you know, seeing the crowd. I think that's been another cool thing that's given me fuel to stay on the road is, you know, talking about the process of writing and producing, like. I get to do all that, but then I get to go out on the road and see people sing some of these songs back, and it's like, even if there's 5 people singing it back, dude, it's like,
it's awesome.
That's what I latch onto, and I'm like, that's what gets me to the next one, you know. And
I don't think there's anything quite like that feeling. I mean, I remember really early on, like, it was MySpace was the only real like social media outlet to have music out there.
Yeah,
and we were on tour with Taylor Swift, like it was our very first thing, and you'd look out, she had like the most rabid fan base, but like the first like 15, 20 rows, they were all singing our songs. It's like they actually took the time to go on MySpace.
It wasn't out yet.
And learn
That's
that
crazy,
music,
man.
and like it totally like to just be out of the gate and be out there and have like on your first tour people singing your music back to you. Like I will never forget the first night that I realized that. I think we were in East Lansing, Michigan.
Oh man.
I remember it like it was yesterday, and I was like, "That's the reason I want to do this." Like,
it's contagious, man.
To change, like even just have a little bit of influence in someone else's life, and then write a song from a certain place, and have somebody else relate to that on a completely different level, or maybe the same level. It's really amazing the power that music in a song has.
So true, man.
And the level of connectivity that can bring with your fan base. That's one thing I've never understood is people that hate meeting their fans, or like they don't want to go do the meet and greet. I'm like, that's the only fucking reason you're even here in the first place. Like that's the dream. And if you can achieve that, why bite the hand that feeds you? I've never gotten that.
It baffles me too, man. Go ahead.
That's why a lot of actors I feel like want to be singers, because they don't get to see people enjoy their movie really, right?
That's true.
They're like but when they hear someone sing, like Charles Esten is a great example. He's a famous actor.
Yeah.
And he's a great actor and a great dude too. But like he'll sing a show for 25 people for free, you know, because they're gonna sing songs, because he's like, it's addicting, you know, and they're gonna sing his songs, and you get to feel that. It's like, it's epic, man.
Dude, the way he works a crowd, it's like,
I know
he's trying to get that out of him. And
well, you know what's funny is seeing somebody where it's kind of secondary for them, or it came later, seeing what they take from their main gig. Like, bro, he could entertain anybody. We played the Opry like I think 3 or 4 times now, and every time he's there, and we got to follow him. Like, come on, man, you can't put me in front of this guy or behind this guy. But
we've gone out and done like a couple. Like we used to do this traveling writers round thing before that became a thing.
Yeah,
and it'd be like us, Trent Tomlinson, Jared Neiman, and him.
Yeah,
or we did it with Eric Pasley a couple of times, and we're all playing hit songs. He doesn't have any hits, and yet it would get to him, and the room just was electric.
Yeah.
Like the way he could entertain, and just the way, and he'd even say that. He's like, I might not have the hits these guys have, but I'm gonna make sure you have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
It made everybody else on stage be better.
Yep.
But you're right. Like, so it's not his main gig, and you can just see the joy that he gets out of that, and what he gets from the performance and the crowd's reaction. It's it's incredible. And I've learned a lot from him. Just like you know, it's inspiring, I think.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool to see, man. And I don't know. I think, you know, it definitely, I don't think I could jump into his world and you know what I mean?
Crush it right away.
It's impressive to see somebody that can switch it off and on and do something completely different. But
yeah, we actually made a comment. We were in Colorado Springs, and we came off stage at the end of the night, and like we all had there were whiskey shots on like these barrels sitting in between us, and like Trent Tomlinson was like, "Man, you were feeling it out there tonight. You got pretty drunk, didn't you?" And he like his like whole like countenance changed immediately. He was like, Trent, I'm an actor. He goes, I can make anyone believe anything.
That's
he goes,
crazy.
But that was fun. That was actually me having a good time.
Yeah.
So, but it was funny to hear him say that. And then also just to like be able to
Stone
switch
cold,
it off, like just go stone cold. It was pretty impressive.
What was one of your favorite shows you did this summer?
Oh, man. We've had a few cool ones. I think we played Orange County. What was the venue? There's an amphitheater up in Orange County a couple weeks ago. It was just such a cool venue, man. We were out with Swindell, and I think it was Orange County. I know that. Yeah. Whatever the amphitheater is there, but it was just one of those, like, it was just a good vibe, you know? Nice. Like, I love those shows where, like, I'm a big fan of amphitheaters. I think they're fun, and it's a different environment, but fun to do, especially in the summertime. You're just out there, everybody's having a good time. Nobody's worried about how they smell or how sticky they are, you know, and it's from sweating all day. But
you signing after the shows?
Dude, that's what I was gonna say. It baffles me when guys, especially early on, don't even make an effort, because this is the I guess the compromise that I've figured out. Even when you're playing some of these big festivals and you have plug and play time slot where you got to get in and get out and get off the stage, no one, I've only had like one experience where somebody got pissed that I was doing this, but every time we play something where it's impossible to get back to the merch stand or whatever, I go out to the front of the stage after the show and just even if you slap somebody's hand and you go out there and they eat that up, man. And I don't understand how you can see them come at 2 p.m. and stand out in the beating hot sun just to get a front row seat and then not just say thank you. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of dumb to me.
Little kids get there with a Sharpie and his cowboy hat, and then watching somebody just turn like around and walk off. Like,
oh, I'm a sucker, man. Anytime I see a little girl in a cowboy hat, I'm like, oh, man, they're definitely going to get mad. I'm going to be here too long.
And that little kid's probably going to be your fan for life. And all their friends will be their family. Like, I mean, they'll never forget that.
That's right. It's the little moments that I think mean so much to people, because that's all you get. You know, that's all I get with them too a lot of times, where you just get that moment, and you may see them at another show or you may see them at a meet and greet somewhere, but it very well could be the one and only time that they see you and experience a interaction with you. And I think that's another thing that's really hard about this job. I won't say hard, but you got to be conscious about remembering that every time you go out somewhere, you're giving a first impression to somebody. You know, it's hard to keep that and turn that on sometimes when you're not feeling it or whatever. But I think for me, it's just, you know, knowing that those people spent their hard-earned money to come out and maybe not see us, but they're gonna get us. You know, they're gonna get us with what they came and spent their money on, and I want it to be worth their time. So. Yeah, dude. Every show, I don't care where we're at. I'm either going to the merch stand after the show or hanging out in front of the stage.
So like at least double the amount of merch if you go out there.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
1 million fans, 1 million hands, they say.
I like, man. Let me get my notepad back out here. I love that.
Said that at the beginning of our
Taylor Swift.
Taylor,
Really? I mean,
well, her dad said it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's true. I mean, and that was like the best. Like, I remember we played the arena in Chattanooga one night, and we were on Lyric Street Records. The whole label came down, and, you know, that was like probably the 10th show we had played with her, and she stayed for almost 3 hours and signed for every single person that would wait. So we were like, all right. So we just set up our merch stand like right down the concourse from her.
Yeah, we'll take the leftovers.
3 hours, and every single one that came to her stand came down to us, and it was like that was like our first taste of that. And then all of a sudden we were noticing just our numbers were going up like crazy. I mean, it was not as easy to track numbers back then, but like our social media would start to go crazy after every one of those shows. It was like, man, this is the best way to to meet people, and then those people are still our fans to this day.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, man.
They got little kids now.
They followed us. Yeah, it's wild. Dude, we were in here one night during our showcase we do here on Wednesdays. This really pretty girl walks in, and she's like, I've got a story for you. You're never going to believe this. And I'm thinking, oh, God, what could this possibly be?
What did I do?
And she pulls out her phone and shows me a picture of me holding her as a baby.
What?
Now she's drinking here.
That's trippy,
I was
man.
like, good God. But it was pretty cool. I mean, she was like,
cool.
Thank you guys for just being consistent, being yourselves, and always being good to your fans. She was like, my whole family absolutely loves you guys. And it was just a
that's
cool
amazing.
reminder.
That's so cool, man.
They grow with you, and
they do. And I think that's the thing that I think social media has made hard, at least for me. I'm not not that savvy of a guy when it comes to that. I feel like, when I moved to town, I didn't expect to be a celebrity as well. And I think that's what people associate with being an artist now. It's like all of those things now come with it just because of the platform that's there.
Yeah.
And I think, it's hard to find that balance. But I think for me, it was always like, if we're promoting my music, I'm down. You know, I'm not going to get out and do anything that's not me, just because of, what's trending on the platform or whatever the case may be. But I will do something that's cool that promotes my songs. And I think that's it's been a hard line. People, not everybody that's been on my team has loved that about me. But I will say, man, like, I don't have too many regrets on like stuff we posted where it's like kind of the same thing as putting music out early on. It's like I don't have really anything that I'm like, I want to go back and tear that down so fast. It's like I'm thankful I've been kind of true to that from the beginning and just not fall into whatever's trending at the moment. It's a tough battle because what kind of reach it could have if it does take off, or it did have a moment on digital. But I think, I don't know, man, I think people see through that. If you're trying to be something you're not, people snuff that out pretty quick, especially in country. I think country fans are so attentive and they want to know all the details and they want to know, the process and all that. And again, I think, that's part of the whole thing that I think I've tried to really do more of lately is let them come along for the ride, man. Like they want to be a part of it, and they're the reason we're doing it. So let them in on it. Let them feel like there are ways to make people feel like they're contributing, even if they're not in the room or they're not at a show. Like, buying merch is a big thing we're just talking about. Like that goes a long way for us. Like this year, if I'm being transparent with you, this year's the first year I've broken even on the road. Yeah, and that's the real DL on the music industry. You don't make money your first couple of years. You're just taking it for the look and the opportunity to win fans over and all that. And so I think merch is what's kept us down the road a lot of times, or allowed us to break even. So it is, a lot of it's due to them, and I think that's all they want in return is just to be able to come along for the ride and feel like they're a part of it from the get-go.
I think you do a really good job with your social media and the content that you put out. Like when I watch it, I feel like I know you. I feel like I'm being invited into kind of your world. And I think there's a lot of people that create content in a different type of way that's more egocentric maybe, like as opposed to, no, this is the job I get to do. This is my life. This is me. Come along for the ride. And I love that approach as opposed to the, hey, look at me. Look how awesome I am. I know. I think I'm awesome, and everyone else should think that too. It's like people see right through that shit.
They see through it, man. I think. And I think a lot of the guys that, a lot of the artists or bands that I've seen do that and just 180 whenever something takes off, it's like usually it's kind of a flash in the pan. It's not there's really not, in my opinion, any longevity in that. I think because you're not going to be able to fake it for the next 10, 15 years. If you're going out and playing songs that you hate, you're going to be miserable. If you're playing songs that aren't you, people are going to think you're a joke. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that's the hard balance again, is like figuring out what that is and what's true to you, and just stay in that lane, because the longer you stay there and the longer you feel like you have guardrails, the more you're going to try to push them out and push the boundaries out and be like, like even this record that we just cut, we cut 12 songs. I I think it's like 2 months ago, we kind of were in the studio for a while, and you know, it's like, how do we make this different, but also not take it into left field from the first record, you know, because that's, you know, that was me and had a lot of control in that. And I don't know, I feel like it's a hard thing to do, but it is doable. Yeah. It's doable to push your boundaries a little bit, but still know it's you. When people hear it come on, they know exactly who it is, you know. I think that's something I took away from, like, just growing up. I'm a huge Ronnie Millsap fan. That's something me and Aldean, cool. You know, connected with each other early on. But, you know, he was that guy. I mean, he pushed boundaries in the pop world. He was doing, I mean, he had a ton of crossover hits, but it didn't matter what track. He could have a saxophone behind him, but you knew it was Ronnie Millsap when he started singing, you know? And so that was kind of always my approach. Keith Whitley was another hero of mine, same thing, where it's like, you know, when he starts ripping who it is, you know what I mean? Sure. And so I don't know. I think most of the people that I've seen have, you know, like longevity, they're just that. They're true to that. We were talking about Aldean earlier. I mean, he hasn't changed much, man. Yeah. He's refined a little bit and, you know, tested the waters, but he hadn't stepped out of his lane. Yeah. And I think that's a very important thing to do now.
Yeah, how's like just looking at your kind of catalog of songs you've written, like, how's your live show changed? Because it seems like you could go out and play a set of hits that aren't necessarily your songs, even though they're your songs. Like, how do you incorporate that into your set, and how's that changed, you know, since you've had your own successes as the artist? Yeah. Is that something that's changed a lot, or I mean, we've had a couple outside cuts that were hits, and, you know, for us, it's like having other hits to play in your set. Exactly. And it makes it just that much better. And, you know, I've seen some artists that won't play any of those songs. I'm like, why the hell not? Like, they know them, and so
you gotta play.
Has there been like a change though for you? Like, now that you're having your own stuff, like?
Yeah, I think, and it's still kind of ongoing. I mean, we're trying to figure out how to do it tastefully. Because you know, the hard part is not becoming an Aldean cover band, you know, because it's like, I mean, we could play 4 or 5.
How many songs is it? Like 16 or 17 that he's
I think so, man. That's crazy. Over the last couple of records. But yeah, it's it's hard. I mean, there's songs you try to take too, like, it's figuring out the ones, like, which one are people going to really know the best, and which ones flow into each other well if you're trying to do a medley type thing. Because that's the hard part, is like, well, do we just do one that we think everybody will know and we just hammer the full song out, or do we try to incorporate a few of them and tie them together in a cool way? And that's kind of what we're working on now for this tour, is how do we make it cool and fresh? Because we've been doing If I Didn't Love You was my first cut, and we've been doing that one for a while now, just because, again, it is something that people know. And, you know, if you get halfway through the set and you start losing them, you can draw them back in with one of those. And it's still authentic because it's, you know, you wrote it, or it's something that you know, you had a hand in. And so dude, it's definitely been a shift, but I think in a good way. It's given us a little bit more ammo, I think, to have in our arsenal on stage, you know.
That's awesome. So how this new single you got, Kid Myself, yeah, screaming up the charts, doing great.
Dude, it's been a slow burn, but I love it, man. I just, like I always tell the guys, you know, sometimes you get too far into it and you're just keeping track of it too much, and it's like, you know, you just got to realize, like, we're going up. Yeah, we're going up. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter how long it takes to get there. In my opinion, it's like, if you can keep that outlet and keep, especially, media base and Billboard, if you can just keep that train moving, I feel like that you can kind of not relax in other areas, but you can, I guess, take more lead on the digital side of things. That's where I've been trying to figure out how to crack the code on it lately, is like, you know, having a radio hit and also trying to have a digital hit that translates on socials, that can have a moment, because that's the cool thing about the industry that we're in now and how things have evolved with digital and streaming and all that. It's like, you know, it's hard to make money sometimes, but if you're not, you know, unless it's the publishing side, but like there's a ton of value in having a digital moment now too. And I think if you can time them up in the right way, that's the trajectory I've seen work for a lot of the new guys that have come out this year and in the last couple of years. It's like they put a lot of focus on both ends, and that's kind of where I've been doing radio shows for the last 3 or 4 years. You know that tour. It's just like it can be brutal, but it's rewarding, and you see the growth from it whenever you go out and play a show, and your song hits top 20 even. You see the change in that of like, oh, okay, people know it, you know.
It feels like those moments, it feels like it happens like
overnight, bro. I know.
Even though you look at how many free radio shows you've done, and you're like, okay, this is exhausting.
You don't think about those. Yeah.
But then once you finally see it, it really does feel like it's just someone flipped a switch, and it's like, oh shit, all of a sudden they all know this one. They didn't last weekend.
I know, man. I know, it's so cool, and
it's the countdowns.
The countdowns, dude. They do, man.
They are huge.
You're right. It is, man, and they go a long way. I don't know, man. I feel like, with where I'm at too, everything at this point to me, and this, I've been thinking a lot about this lately. It's just like, man, everything's icing from here on out to me. I've done more in my career than I ever thought I would be able to do. That's so, cool. It's cool to have that pressure off. I'm not in it to get a CMA award. If it comes, it'd be awesome. But that's not what I'm here to do, man. Like,
I keep you up at night.
No.
I can't believe we're gonna get nominated.
I mean, you sometimes you feel bummed that I think as a team you didn't get that win for the team. Yes. I mean, that's a hard thing because a lot of people are putting time into it. When you get to a certain level, and so you want it for the team win, but for me personally, like, I could care less, man. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. It's just like, again, if it happens, I'll be more than honored. But that's not what keeps me on the road and keeps the wheels going for me. It's, being able to, I don't know, hopefully change the, I guess, the way things are in the music industry a little bit, and just, show people what we were talking about earlier is like, you can come in here and come to Nashville and do your thing. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough to do, but it's doable.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the biggest, I guess, box to check for me is like showing people that I can not only do it once, but follow it up with a sophomore record and still have good songs and not compromise on that end. And just keeping that bar where it's at, and awesome. Only letting those songs make the cut. And
did you have any songs for your new record that you're like, oh, I'm definitely not playing this for Jason, dude. He's gonna want it.
It was funny because that process is like, I trust him a lot, and obviously I have good reason to. I mean, he knows what he's doing, but there are definitely some songs that I'm like, I don't know if he's gonna get what this does for what I'm doing, but honestly, he's pretty cool about that now. I think now that he's taken on that hat of being a label head, and we've been through a record now, so we've been through the process once and kind of know what he needs to do in order to meet the bare minimum of being involved and having a say. It's like I've tried to be more transparent with him and just be like, look, man, I know this doesn't feel like the next radio single, but I think it could have a moment on digital, and that's where my mindset is. I'm not really shooting for this song to go to terrestrial radio or anything. It's just like let's just let it have a moment over here, and we can be working this angle while hopefully radio's doing its thing too. So he's got a big say in that, and even on this record, I remember like I was talking to Chelsea, my manager. I was just like, I'm nervous to send him these songs. Not that I knew he would like them, and I felt pretty confident on the production side, but it's like, when you have a record done and you're like, oh God, dude, it just sending it out to the other people that have a say in what's going to happen. It's just like, man, I know if we get notes back on these mixes, I'm going to lose my mind, like we've already got them through mastering and all that. Like, I think there's a little hum in the low end, and I'm just like, I've watched that movie, you know.
Read the vinyl?
That's actually something that I've been thinking about for this record because it's making a comeback, man, and I love
huge
vinyls
right now, and it's something physical they can keep and you can sign them and everything.
It is, man, and it's been cool. Even on the stuff Aldean, I've been able to write for him. Like he's sent me a vinyl every time of, you know, the album when it came out, awesome. And even just getting some for that, like for the team and stuff, I think it's really cool, man. It's special to me.
I hope you do. That's cool.
Yeah, me too.
We like to kind of touch on like the mental health side of this business and everything. And you said something that got me thinking about that. It's like, I think I look back on our career up to this point, and I think the most disappointed that I ever was when something didn't happen that was supposed to. Not so much because of I wanted it, because I felt like I was letting the team down. Or I was, you know, you'd hear band guys start talking like, "Oh, the last 2 singles, you know, didn't go top 25, so we might want to start thinking about finding another gig." It's like, we got to pay our bills too. And like, that was always in the back of my mind with everything. It's like, I'm not just thinking about Steven and I'm thinking about band and crew. And, you know, had a front of house guy, tour manager guy that, you know, like, had some health issues and stuff. I'm like, man, if we just had a little bit more success, we would have been able to help him get that kidney faster or something. And like, you know what I mean? And then I think that's always just been an added pressure that maybe I didn't necessarily need to put on myself, but I always have. And like, it really started to take its toll on me because I lost sight of like the musical direction, just because being desperate for some type of success, just to keep the team, keep the band, keep the crew and everybody happy. Like,
keep the bus.
Yeah, keep that. Like,
which we don't have anymore.
You know, winter gets slow. It's like, okay, what are we gonna do for a band for Christmas? And like, they need to be able to give their kids a good Christmas and stuff. Like,
I know, man.
So have you navigated kind of that and just mental health in general on the road? I know there's a lot of up and downs. I know you're a father, you got family to always think about, and I'm sure the success you've had on the writing side probably has alleviated a little bit of that extra pressure. But what do you do to kind of just keep yourself grounded and focused on really what your goals are, and, you know, not necessarily the peripheral and, you know, the other things that can become more distracting than they need to be?
So many distractions, man. That's a great question. I really I don't have any like I don't have any defined hobbies anymore. I like to hunt and do stuff like that, but I think for me it's just, you know, having time at home now. I love getting to be a dad. It's the coolest thing I've ever done, man. And I just you know, when I do have time, the road, I think this is the hard part that a lot of people don't see. And you know, we don't show a ton of it on socials even, but there's a lot of hard hours, man. A lot of hard late hours where no one on earth in their right mind would be awake doing what we're doing. But you got to do it to get to the next one, or to get home in time to have a moment with, you know, your folks. And I think, you know, for me, it's just finding that fine line of obsession and being able to rest too, man, because resting it's such a hard thing just with life in general now. I think we're exposed to so many things now where it's like we're always overstimulated. I feel like with even just if you're just chilling and you start doom scrolling, man, like your mood can change in a heartbeat just because of something popping up. And so I think I'm not a big socials guy. Like I've taken a lot of hiatuses from that when I can. You know, it's hard to do with this being my job now, but thankfully I've got a team that helps me out a lot on that side now, and at least gets it posted. I'll get the content and let them kind of get it up and everything. But I think as far as the mental health on the road, man, like you brought up a great point. It's not just about you. It never is. It's, you know, some people have that tunnel vision. And, you know, just what you were saying to me, that shows your heart too, man, and what you guys are about. Because at the end of the day, you know, if you are handpicking guys around you that are trustworthy, they're probably good people. And you want to do right by good people that are investing in my career. I want it to be a payoff for them too at some point. And it may be a lot at the end of the tunnel. I mean, my goal for the last 5 years is to get on a bus too. And it's like, we're so close, you know, and I feel that momentum and that buzz, and that's where it takes my mind. Is like, man, this could alleviate so much of that road stress where we're dogging it in a sprinter to get to the next venue in BFE, North Dakota, you know, at a 20-hour trip, but we're going to show up and do our thing. And I think that's the thing, that's the side of it people don't see is all the hard hours and sleeping in a van floor and, you know, doing all the stuff that my 30-year-old back doesn't like anymore. Yeah. But, you know, it's all part of it, and it's part of the appreciation of it too. I think, you know, I have been on a bus for a minute, and I've seen what that does for somebody to have a consistent driver, man. Like, just having a driver, even if you're not on a bus, if you have a good driver that you can get 3 or 4 good hours of sleep at night, I mean, I can get up and sing a 90-minute show after that. If I
call my dad. He's been driving for us for years, dude,
man. My dad drove for us the first, actually both Aldean tours we did in 21 and 22. He was out with us. Or no, I'm sorry, just 22, because the first one I rode, Aldean was cool enough to let me hop on one of his buses. That's awesome. But the second tour, we were on our own, and I'm actually still trying to sell our little transit bus that we had. We literally, the thing is brand new. That tour, 22, was just a hard year, bro. It was like every show we went out, something went wrong in that bus, you know? And but yeah, back to your point, man. Like I really think that you know, if you're in it for the accolades and you're in it for all that, you're oblivious to the real life things. Yeah. And that is what you were saying, helping out people in your crew that have been there and have maybe made you look better than you should have at moments when you know, weren't even thinking about it. And so I think for me, I'm right there with you, man. Like it's the payoff together that's going to be so sweet. When we all walk up on a bus and we're like, this is my bunk, don't touch it. You know, like that's going to be a cool moment. And, you know, I think doing it together is the biggest part of it. And I think staying healthy in a mental, I mean, for me too, like physically, you know, it takes a toll on you physically too, man. I mean, I was 135 pounds soaking wet at the end of 23 because we were just dogging it, man. And you know, the lifestyle that comes with it. I mean, you're up, you're rubbing elbows, you're shaking hands, you're meeting fans, trying to be on, trying to be a front man, trying to keep the crowd, trying to check all these things off your list. And meanwhile, your mind might be home, you know, and you're trying to focus. And so I think it's just keeping your perspective in check and making sure that you, again, have guys around you that are keeping you accountable. Like, hey, bro, I know something may be going on at home right now, but we got 10 minutes to showtime. Go sit in another room by yourself for a minute and get your shit together, you know, and make sure that you're gonna do your job, because, you know, if we're not all clicking, it's that's the bar, and you're coming under the bar. And I don't ever want to do that to the guys, because once that happens, it's everybody starts feeling like they have that leeway. And it's a tough thing to do, but I think that's been the hardest thing. And something that Dallas Davison, I don't know if y'all know Dallas, but he told me this early on, because I was signed. We did a JV with them early on my publishing side, and he was really cool to me, and just like, you know, I was picking his brain one day, and he's like, man, he's like, the only thing I can tell you to keep your head on straight is when you take time off, you got to take time off. Yeah. He's like, when you don't hear from me, I'm in Georgia. You're not going to get an answer from me for a couple of weeks. You know, he's like, I'm hunting, hanging out with my kids. I'm trying to come up with ideas and living life so you can experience things to write about. You know, it's like, that was the hard. I was kind of talking more on the writing things and like, how do you come up with new ideas every day, fresh ideas? And that's what he told me. You got to take time off. And so, as much as I hate doing that, I'm pretty much like stay on the grind as much as I can. But you got to step away from it and zoom out for a second and be like, am I making the right decisions? You know, for the band, that's something else too, that when you jump into this and you're touring, you're running a business, dude. Yeah. You got to pay guys. Like, like you said, there's 100 other gigs they could go to and probably make more money, but how much are they invested into this, you know, and how much do they believe in it? And I think the way you can get around paying them out front, you know, up front, I guess, what they really deserve is just putting the time in yourself and showing them by example that I'm here for this too. Yeah. And you're not putting your time into something that's not at least going to be given a shot by me. I'm going to do my part and do my job, and you just match that, you know. And I think that's been healthy all the way around for me, just to keep going down the road, and keep looking forward to the next challenge that pops up on the road.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's really sounds like an incredibly healthy perspective that you have.
Yeah, it does.
It hadn't been that way the whole time,
Yeah.
man. It takes a moment to get there and get your legs under you and figure out like, this is a touring business. I do have to be careful about spending little things and buying a candy bar at the grocery store, or paying for dinner for everybody. Like you gotta be selective when you do that, because those things do go a long way. Having a hot shower is a big commodity on the road, and so it's like those little things, having a free meal every once in a while, like that's where you can make it a little easier on your crew and make it enjoyable for them, because they don't always get the things that come with what my role is. A lot of times I get sent free stuff, or I get to go do something cool on a boat with a guy that's, what I mean? And that doesn't always happen for everybody. So I think making sure I'm mindful of the things I can do for them when I can is important.
That's awesome. Yeah, when you're saying that, like I remember back, like one of my biggest fears was telling our band that we were going from the bus to a Sprinter. Like we started our career in a van, then we were on a bus for years, and then we bought a Sprinter that had 6 bunks in it, I think. And I remember just apologizing to one of the guys, because he'd been on big tours before he worked with us, and it's like, hey man, sorry, it's just kind of what we got to do. It just makes more sense financially. We realized how much money we were throwing away on a bus when we probably shouldn't have been on one anymore. And he was like, man, don't apologize. Like, we're in this because we love the music y'all create. Y'all treat us well, and we're in this for you guys, not to be on a bus. Sure, it's nice. He was like, I'm grateful that you're not putting us in an 18-passenger van, and we at least have a place to lay down.
And then they left for an artist with a bus. But it was nice at the time to make us feel better about it.
And at that point, also, we had to realize, like, all right, didn't have as many hits anymore, and like he had an offer to go play for somebody. It's an absolute legend. Like, and he was an amazing guy. Played with us for 7 or 8 years and put in some incredible time. Lots of sleepless nights. So, like, I look at it now as I'm thrilled for him that he's out on the road with Tracy Lawrence and killing it. Like, it's kind of that was his dream to get back to that point. And we were, whether we were a stepping stone for that, it was neither here nor there. But I mean, I talked to him the other day, and he was like, "Man, just want to thank you guys so much for believing in me when I was a basket case and like keeping me out there." And I never even looked at it that way. I was just like, I felt lucky to have him just because he was such a monster player. He was a great guy, became one of our best friends. Like, but to hear stuff like that, like when I was just kind of, my stomach was in knots thinking, all right, we're going to tell these guys this and they're all going to jump ship, and nobody did. It's like they loved the music. They loved what we were doing, and they were true friends. And I think the fact that we had treated them well throughout that whole process was a big part of the reason why they didn't just fly the coop and just get out of there as quick as they could. So
we've been a pretty big catapult for lots of drummers, because we have Near Z playing on it, and we find someone, if you can play what Near Z can play, then people see you, you're hired, and so then people see him and they're like, man, that is awesome, and they don't even know who, like,
so we started hiring less time. No, just kidding.
You just didn't get near back on the studio side. No, it's true, man. You got to have people that can handle that on the road, because it's some things in the studio don't translate in a live show.
Yeah,
they just don't. You got to beef it up, or you got to tweak it a little bit just to make it hit in the live show. And it's hard to do if you're not a chameleon as a musician or a utility guy. I feel like you got to be a utility guy, just to know what's going on, and at least know your instrument well and use your tool like you're supposed to. I think is a huge piece of it. But yeah, I mean, dude, buses, back to that, man. Like, I just, it baffles me, man, how, like, and that's the other hard thing too, is the comparison game. It's like, inevitably you're gonna think that, because you're doing the same thing. It's like, and you see artists jump immediately onto a bus, and that was early on for me. I was like, obviously I'd love to be in a bus, but I'm not gonna go $20,000 in the hole a month just to be on a bus and say I'm on a bus, and that's I think where, as a business you got to think that way, and It's tough, man. If you're already not making money and taking some opening gigs and you're not making anything, and then you stack that on top of it, you're in for a hurting, bro. Yeah. Like it's gonna come back on you at some point. And I've always been like financially, I've always been very cautious about like spending a ton of money. I'm not a big I'm not going out and buying a bunch of toys and like doing all. I just like obviously there's guitars get me sometimes, but it's like. I have my certain things, but for the most part, it's like everything I've done up until this point, has paid my bills and gone right back into touring. Yeah. Even on the publishing side, like everything I make on that end covers my bills for the month and then goes right back into Tuck River touring. And that's just how it's been. That's what's kept us afloat, and a lot of times. So. But yeah, it's crazy to me, man. Guys just jumping right into a bus and like, I get it. If you've got some momentum and it's not a big problem and you're gonna be able to pay it off, that's great, good for you. But I've just never been that confident. I guess.
And I think as an artist, it's like it feels like a rite of passage or like an I made it kind of moment.
Yeah.
When you show up to your first show and you're in a bus.
And it makes sense in the budget.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were fortunate enough for
still making money on the show.
Yeah,
exactly.
Dude.
We were managed by Mark Miller, lead singer of Sawyer Brown.
Yeah.
For a few years, and he was still actively touring. They still had their bus, and like when they weren't out, on certain weekends, they'd give us a really good deal on the bus and let us take their driver out. So we got to experience it a few times really early on.
Yeah.
And then they also had a conversion van that they let us use. And then it was like 3 shows we got to use the bus, and then a couple of years of being in that van. It was almost like they dangled it in front of us.
Wow.
But like when you finally get in it, and then we finally got our own bus lease, it was like that was when we felt like, all right, we've made it. Like we're showing up to these shows like this. But then when we went to the Sprinter, we were still headlining a lot of shows, and a lot of the opening acts were showing up in a bus and pulling up next to our Sprinter and trailer. Just like if they only knew how big of a waste that really is.
It is, man. And especially if you're not hitting it hard and touring all the time, it might make sense there, but you're still losing money.
Yeah.
I mean, you just are. I don't know how else to say it.
Fixed expenses that come with the bus, and it's like what the guarantee is for a baby act like that. Like it's really hard to justify that. So like in our case, it was actually doable because we had a manager that had a bus and didn't charge us for the overdrives, for the fuel, for really any of it. We basically paid what we would have rented a van for, and it was pretty incredible to have that. But then you see a new act that comes out there and they got the all access bus or night train or whatever it was at the time, and you're like, I know how much that costs.
I know
you're going at least $5,000 in the hole on this run.
Just to be there.
Yeah. I think it says a lot about artists too that are willing to huff it until it does make sense. I remember having, I think it was the first tour I was out with Aldean. Laney Wilson was on that tour. I think it was me, Laney, and Hardy and Aldean.
It's an incredible tour.
Yeah, it was a good one. But I remember seeing her show up in a Sprinter van that entire tour.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool. Mm-hmm. Even on an insider's perspective, it was like just seeing somebody that was willing to dog it, fly in, or show up and roll up in a Sprinter van. I mean, respect.
Yeah.
I got a lot of respect for her and what she's done and built. I feel like just seeing it from that level and seeing her show from where it was then to now. I mean, obviously there's a lot been going on since then, but that was a cool thing to see, in the moment, and just seeing that it wasn't just us, you know.
And I think if I look back at trying to remember who those artists that showed up in a bus that probably shouldn't have been in one versus the ones that showed up in a Sprinter. The ones that showed up in a Sprinter are the ones that are in buses now.
Still around.
Superstars. And I remember playing shows with Luke Combs, like showing up in a Sprinter. And he stayed in that thing until he needed to be in a bus. And most of the artists that have done it that way, probably the most business savvy of the bunch. And there's a reason why they're doing it at the level that they're doing it at now.
Yep, that's true.
And when can we expect this new record from you?
I think we're gonna release probably the next song. I think August is kind of what we're shooting for. Awesome. We're gonna kind of trickle them out through the end of the year, and
nice.
Seems to be what's working. So we'll see. I'm just like, however we want to do it, man. That's fine with me. But I think it'll be cool to drop a few along the way, and then I think the full album is gonna be out around March of next year, February. We'll get through the break and all that, and then hopefully have something really fresh to hammer down on, and obviously put out a few songs that we'll play in our set for the tour this fall. But
nice.
Yeah, I'm pumped, man. We cut a lot of cool stuff and a lot of different stuff. It was like, again, still in the Carolina Blue debut album lane, but you touched on it earlier, just I'm in a different phase of life, so it was like thinking about different subject matters was cool to try to chase some different stuff on this one. And I don't know, I'm pumped about it. I'm pumped to play a few of them and add them into our set. It's fun to have those few, but yeah, I'm curious to see how it translates and see which song kind of raises its hand.
That's awesome.
Well, we're looking forward to
can't
watching.
Wait to hear it.
Thanks, man.
You got any new cuts you're excited about?
Yeah, actually, I'm always writing for Aldean's projects, so we keep that going weekly. We're writing, and so I've got a few in the tank with him. You never know with holds, but like it's fun to know the ones you do have in there are pretty tough, and I think he's into a few of them, so I'm excited about that. I don't have any I don't think anything's getting released right now. Honestly, I've been so busy on the road that it's been hard to get in rooms in town when I'm in town, but again, maybe get that bus going, and next couple of years we'll be able to bring some people out right on the road. That's seen that work for a lot of artists, and just being able to keep work on the road and not have to do it when you're home as much.
That's nice.
Yeah, so we'll see. But I'm always, coming up with ideas. I do a lot of starts now where I'll start an idea and write a scratch course or something, and then send it to somebody that I trust to be like, what do you put your ears on this, or write a verse, and we'll collaborate when we get back in town.
That's
awesome. You got to keep those chops up, man. For me anyway, if I'm not writing at least once or twice a week, I'm gonna lose it. Like I feel like it slips away from me, but it's still fun, man. I'll have hopefully some more cuts by the end of the year, but nothing in the works right now.
Well, we appreciate you sitting down with us today.
Dude, it's been really fun.
Yeah, likewise, man.
Time flies, dude.
Yep.
Sitting here an hour and 40 minutes. I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're good, man. I'm a big fan of you guys too, man. Seriously, I've been listening to y'all forever, and
we appreciate you, man.
Was Angel Eyes? I was gonna ask you, was Angel Eyes the first? Was that the first radio hit you guys had, or was
it was the second? We had
the second one,
or actually third technically. We had our first single. We were a trio. It's called Runaway, and that was top 10 on one chart, top 5 on another.
Yeah, I remember that one.
We had a song come out called Dancing in Circles right after that, like flying up the chart, and then Lyric Street shut down. So I remember we were on the way back from a radio show in a bus. Our manager called us, and they're like, hey, so just got a phone call that the label's shutting down, they're dropping everybody, and they're just going to keep working the Rascal Flatts single, that's it. And we're like, all right. So then Angel Eyes was our first, like, the third guy quit in between that deal and the RCA deal. So Angel Eyes was our first hit on Sony. And we had a few more songs come out there, and then we had our song Whiskey on My Breath that we put out.
Love that song, man.
Kind of separately. And they took it over. They were going to try to work it at radio. Couldn't get the deal done in time. Lost the bullet twice. Got it back on the chart, and then they're like, it's just out of gas. And they're like, no, you just have 4 other singles you need to work, and you can't get this one done. But
funny how that works, isn't it?
It everything happens for a reason. And we're just, feel blessed that we've had the opportunities that we've had and the success that we've had. And still riding that wave, putting out new music now, and just seeing what happens. So.
Well, I love that you guys can actually sing and sing harms too, man. Like I grew up singing harms. That was literally and when I was doing bluegrass, I didn't sing a lot of lead. I sang a lot of harms and just rip guitar, but I always have a lot of respect for guys that can hear it and sing it, and it's just like
that's our favorite thing, really. The producer that kind of started out with us, like his goal was like to create a new kind of Eagles-y type thing. So the goal was to have 4 guys all could sing lead, and everything was going to be at least 3-part harmony, and we've kind of tried to keep that through everything we've done. Those are some of our biggest influences, and some of my favorite music still, and I just gravitate towards anything that has cool vocal arrangements, and the harmonies are all there, but they don't get in the way, and it's really part of the production, as opposed to, hey, look at me, I'm over here singing really high, like who cares? Let's just make a great song. And
I know, man.
You just add so much. If you can approach that as more of an instrument as opposed to something that has to just be in your
BGVs,
face all the
yeah,
time. It's just I don't know. I think it's cool because it gives the music different flair. I remember when I started listening to the Eagles, I was like, the music is very simple, but it's just the production is so massive just because of all the different vocal,
so much going on,
acrobatics that were going on. And just, growing up in church singing harmonies and stuff, the same thing.
Yeah,
it's like,
same.
I've just always gravitated towards that, and it doesn't matter if it's a pop production or anything else. If I'm doing it, it's always going to have a lot of harmonies in it. Just
and they're
so cool.
and they're going to be in the mix. That's what I love too. Like you're saying, like it's hard sometimes when you like feel it more than you hear it, because I want to hear it. I like having especially a high harm guy like the guy that's with me now. He was an artist before joining the crew, and I'm like, he actually was our tour manager.
Really?
And I knew he was an artist. I mean, he did the thing, but we were just buddies. We just hung out, and I didn't have anybody on the road. I was like, dude, you got to come help us. He's like, I've never been a tour manager. I'm like, well, you can figure it out. So he came out, and then we were sound checking one day. I'm like, who's singing harms right now? He was like, I'm like, bro, you're gonna be on a mic soon.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
It's been cool having. He's got a great ear, and just hearing. It's hard to teach harmonies. It's hard. Yes. Really is. Like, my mom was a big influence on me early, just teaching me those. But like, me trying to show somebody else, I don't know how to even explain it. You just hear it, or you don't. And
same thing. My dad was the worship pastor at our church, and my mom would always be in the crowd, and I'd hear her singing harmony, and she was like, just sing what I'm singing. You'll be able to sing with your dad on stage one day.
Somebody showed me on a piano, and that was really helpful.
Yeah.
I first learned. My piano teacher showed me, because he's like, you need to sing harmonies with me at church. I'm like, all right.
That's awesome, man. And pianos, I like it because it's a good visual too. Like you can see it, and
that was always weird for me trying to figure out. Like, I could see it right in front of me, and then when I switched to playing guitar, like, all right, this isn't the same setup here. How do I figure this out?
Yeah,
that's when I figured out modes and boxes. I was like, all right, this makes a little bit more sense. So.
That's awesome, man.
Well, man, I really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
It's been a pleasure.
I had a blast, man. I appreciate you having me.
What you do in the rest of this year and just years to come. I think you're here to stay, that's for sure.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
God bless you.
Thanks,
man.